We are struggling to process what we have just witnessed. A team that had dropped 6 rounds in 2 maps drops a game. No less than that, Renegades, the ones to take it from them. They continue their undefeated streak. Of course, the series not concluded yet, but 2019, they have yet to lose a series or a game. This is interesting. I'm joined by Chad Sponge Birchall and Jacob Pimpvinecker. I am your host, Alex Machine Richardson, and we have got a lot to understand and comprehend, because I'm going to start just by throwing it into the lion's den, gents, and I'm going to ask you the big question. Astralis underperformance, or can we really start throwing praise towards the Renegades?
I definitely think you have to give praise to the Renegades, right? We did say Mirage was the one weakness that we could see for a team like Astralis, right? If they were going to do it, if they were going to take a map, that it had to be Mirage. But I'm more impressed not in the victory itself, not in the way that, you know, that they were able to win the rounds, in the fact that they just stayed so cool and calm, you know? We saw the timeouts in the overtime and they were chill. They weren't, you know, letting the moment get the better of them. And to come back from a 12-3 first half to make it all the way back, and they were in the driver's seat for the better part of that second half. They actually looked better and more dangerous in their T rounds. I'm just impressed overall at Renegades in this tournament, one step at a time, and this is a massive leap.
Watch this replay, watch these highlights, because what you will see is an Astralis that was shutting Renegades out of a game. 12 CT rounds occurred, and that didn't stop them from taking us into OT. They could have finished it in regulation, Jacob.
When we're talking win condition for Astralis, we often talk Device, we talk Dupree, we talk about all that stuff. Device was the highest rated player on the server. Dupree has the most opening frags, and Clave had the most assists, yet Renegades were still able to match them on that CT side. So we have all those win conditions going for Astralis, and still Renegades was able to match them. I think that tells a great story about how strong they were on that CT side, because as you said, Chad, they were in the driver's seat. It was not like Astralis were at a point where they could break them and actually run away with the game. I felt that Renegades were in full control on that CT side.
We just a second ago had Gratisfaction's highlights up from that AWP ace that he had, which was the 3rd round. Because Renegades won pistol, they converted the 2nd, which was a full eco. Gratisfaction got them the only gun round within that first half. Now, when you put it in context of this match, the fact that they dialed it the whole way back from being down 12-3, that makes that ace even more impressive. That one round that he was able to garner, he put them in a position where they could even seem dangerous. 12-3, 13-2, it may not seem like a lot, but when you're talking about pistol conversion, losing the first gun round and it all being over, that extra round, it was the buffer that they maybe needed.
And another interesting tidbit that really got me excited, of course, explained to me as it happened in the green room by yours truly and others, Jacob alongside you, was talking about Liaz's round, where he managed to basically, round prior to the one Renegades managed to convert, he didn't win the round. Left in that clutch, but the frags he picked up, that broke Astralis' chances. I mean, it was that is equally as game-winning.
Well, so in MR3 10K, which is what we work with at the majors, the fact of the matter is it's so much more to invest, especially if you're going to be the orgs. It's only $50 more, but the Molotov's more, you have to buy diffuse kits. If you lose that opening round, right, and you win the 2nd, that's fine, but they won the 2nd with only 1 player remaining. Liaz did so much damage in that 1-on-4 that you could see how hampered they were when they made it to the last gun round of overtime. They had UMPs, they had Famis's, they didn't have all the goodies they needed to take it to Renegades.
I'm really excited actually to hear what Kassad may have to say. I think Frankie may have grabbed him fresh off the stage of their first map victory in what's going to be a grueling series. Kassad, coach of Renegades with Frankie.
I've just nabbed Kassad for a quick chat because that was absolutely epic. And I congratulated you on your CT side, Kassad, but then you were unhappy about the T sides. Why?
It's not really that I was unhappy, just they caught us by surprise, but the mid takes constantly pushing middle, so we couldn't really react properly. It took us like 5-6 rounds, they controlled the money all the way, and it was really hard for us to deal with that. Luckily, in the overtime, we had 2 perfect plays for that set up already, and it worked. Our CT side was, on the other hand, pretty good. Our comps were like after 12-7 or 12-8. Our comps like picked up really good, and it worked out after that. We're really excited right now.
And what do you make of the fact that people still underestimated you guys going into this stage of the major?
I mean, Astralis, when we face Astralis, they're the best team in the world. We kind of like the role of underdog against anybody. So it's kind of natural for us right now. So I don't know, it feels good.
And I know you're really looking forward to Nuke. Can you tell me why?
I mean, like we said, we prepared Nuke for like 3-4 weeks, and playing Astralis on Nuke is the ultimate test that you can get, right? They're the big boss of Nuke. Actually, they're the best team in the world, so we'll see how we do in the past month against them right now.
Well, we'll wait to see whether Renegades can take down the big bosses very shortly indeed.
Thank you so much, Frankie, there, and a very happy Kassad. I don't think I've seen him smile for that long, ever. That's a new one.
It's not pulling out hair, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, he does acknowledge that they are going up against the big boss of Nuke. Before we get there, though, one final touch. Kassad talking a lot about that mid-control, Jacob, and I think you selected something that might help us understand it.
Yeah, something that illustrates a few things here. It's both about Kassad and about Glaive, and I've selected 2 clips here to show for you guys. The first one is at the scoreline of 5-2. If we just play out the clip, you can see that mid-control that Kassad were talking about. Glaive pushing up towards middle, Molotoving behind a smoke that's being thrown from CT spawn, and Renegades can do nothing than just leave it be here. Now, if we clip it over to the second clip, we have basically a rerun of that. Glaive again pushing up. This is at the score 7-2, but this time around, Renegades go through the smoke, and you can instantly see what happens. They're being left down, 2 guys die, and at this point, again, Astralis is obtaining that mid-control. So despite Renegades trying to fight for it, they simply weren't able to.
Interesting. So real talk, real question. What do you do when they have smoke top mid from spawn, so you can't do anything?
Yeah.
There's a Molotov if you push through it. There's players waiting for you on the other side. Do you just have to forego mid-control every single time?
You can sit back, or you can do what Renegades did in overtime, which was have Azza and another player come from underpass in a quicker position, right? Sure, the window guy, they're meant to be able to deal with that. That's why you were still seeing the window smoke and the cat smoke from Renegades, even when they were getting shut out top mid, because it allowed the underpass players to come through.
Right.
So it's either sit back, have a retake situation for later, or go for that fight. That round, that second round that Jacob highlighted, that's when Gratis Faction actually got the ace.
It was gorgeous and a fantastic win from Renegades. If you have just joined us, you missed a fantastic barn burner of a Mirage, but that is just the first. Nuke next, and I want to make sure we get a little bit of time. In fact, you can see how little time we have to talk about Nuke. So much, of course, was to be discussed on Mirage. But these are your stats so far. The players, of course, delivering. Don't forget, Astralis, they had almost all of those players within the top 10 rated players so far win the Legend stage with just 2 maps played. This is going to get interesting now.
We already spoke about how much of an insurmountable task Nuke would seem just because of the record Astralis has on it, but Renegades played Ents. It was more Ents picked into it, assuming it was a weakness of Renegades. Kassad mentioned there that they've practiced it a lot, and during that game, we actually highlighted one of the CT setups that Renegades did. Kassad messaged me later and said, yeah, that was actually a counter strat of something that they were going to play, and it worked perfectly. I'm going to expect more of that against Astralis.
I mean, if anyone has got demos on Nuke, it's Astralis, right, Jacob? 28 undefeated, a year untested on Nuke.
Well, I'm glad he brought it up, right? Because as he said, this is going to be the biggest test you can get on a map like Nuke. That said, though, I feel a lot of different teams have tried to pick into Nuke against Astralis. Mouse Sports is one of them. I believe Liquid have tried as well, right? They tried 4 or 5 times. They weren't able to anti-threat them despite trying a lot. So no matter what you do against Astralis on a map like Nuke, you have to come up with something new, something that can throw them off guard. What Astralis does so well, especially on the CT side, is all the rotations coming in. And if they don't have a way of throwing them off guard, if they can't sort of force them into uncomfortable positions, I don't see Renegades winning this one at all. That said, though, if they can put up a fight against Astralis and Nuke, that's a great testament leading into the 3rd map, which I expect that will happen.
Inferno.
Look, I've got the magic number, Alex. Renegades starting on the CT side. If they can keep Astralis' T side to 6 rounds or less, that's all they need to do. 6 rounds or less, and I think they have a real shot. 6
rounds or less is the magic number in Chad's mind. You have to control and quash the Astralis T side. It's sure. CT side, we're expecting success from anyone diving into the CT side of Nuke, but it is the T side where Astralis' triumph often does come from. We will keep an eye on exactly how far Renegades can get to that prize. Astralis had a deficit, reverse sweep necessary to secure a spot in the Champions stage. Renegades stand in their way. It's going to be back over to Trace, Stunner, Sorrentus, and Sean Gares as we jump into an already fantastic series.
Thanks very much, fellas. And, you know, I think the breakdown there was quite adequate, or quite accurate. It's pretty telling right now is the situation that Astralis find themselves in. But if it's any indication, Sean, and you mentioned this the other day, the Renegades did win the warm-up. So with that in mind,
yes,
you're saying there's a chance.
I'm saying that there's a lot of stuff that comes from Australia that can kill you. Snakes, sharks, spiders,
Renegades,
5 boys killing a nuke streak.
Yes, and, well, 1 New Zealander lingering around in there as well. But that's right, it's time for Nuke. Let's fire the missiles as Renegades take on Astralis. And what has already gone away that no one could have forecast. It's going to be a quick upper hit here from the Astralis side. They've really run out here into the middle of the site with just about no defense.
Through the smoke.
Yes.
There might be a tiny gap in that smoke, but I don't think so. Oh, Jacob drops into the site.
Big kills there from Jacob, coming online and getting the plant down, though, as Astralis. Now up to Zipex and Glaive to try to turn this one back around. The number's certainly not favoring them. And, well, as Glaive tries to fight for a lifeline here, that diffuse is coming in a first round on the board of Nuke for the Renegades. My goodness, are we in for a wild ride?
And yet again, Renegades with an amazing start to these halves. They've done it all major long. When they don't win the pistol, they force up and they will win the second round. These guys are phenomenal aimers, and it shows every single pistol round.
Yeah, and a great read here by Jacob to go ahead and take out that planner out of the equation, even though he had killed his teammate. It was a really good play there. And what is the first round for the Renegades? Definitely a good start. But again, this is Astralis. We're talking about 28-0.
I would look out for dupreeh. We saw him do this against Complexity. He will just run outside right now and go straight to Secret, challenging anyone in his way. He's going to do it again. He's just going to run right across. He did this exact thing to Complexity, and this is where Astralis gets dangerous, because now they have you spread apart. Yeah. They're going to go towards ramp. They're going to go all over the place right now, and this is this is the hardest part about playing Astralis on Nuke.
Yeah, and the AK's here bought on the side of dupreeh and Magisk. Now, there has already been success in this round in the purchasing power. One AK killed there on Diaz.
Has no idea that Magisk got to heaven.
That's going to be the big blunder.
He's actually checking right now, I believe. No, he's not. He does know.
He might know. It looks like they have a sense of it. And that AUG will not reign supreme against the AK. Not going to hear that many times this tournament, but the cleanup is, in fact, going down on the other side of the map. Azure and JKS getting the SMG kills themselves, but really and truly, they are left in a rough spot. While they do drop the bomb carrier, it's JKS with 5 HP, does have a load of utility and a kit.
I think that's the key thing here. He has an HE grenade, and Magisk only has 13 HP.
Now, should he make noise, should they get wind of him in this vent, that's going to prove to be disastrous. He does somehow get out. This grenade is going to be huge. Does get the grenade frag on the Magisk. Now 1 versus 1. Glaive taking on JKS. Low HP there for the Australian. And the Savage himself trying to come online here and keep the hope alive for the Renegades in the second round. Bomb has not been planted and is starting to tick down now at the 22nd marker. JKS with the peek. Can't seem to get the kill in the exchange. Glaive was the better. And that round was very, very close, Mr. Sean.
Wow, both players playing that to perfection. You have to feel for JKS. You can see the disappointment in his eyes. He couldn't have played that any better, but the same thing can be said for Glaive there, faking the plant time and time again. Knows exactly where JKS has to come from in that one-on-one.
This has been and will be one of the most topsy-turvy rides of the major thus far. If you're just joining us, this is the second map of this best of 3 series, and you might not believe me when I say it, but the Renegades have in fact strung together the rounds needed to win Mirage.
Here we have Astralis spreading out their default, and they opt to throw this wall of smoke late because it's a meta in Europe to actually throw a Molotov and create a gap in the wall of smoke. So you'll never see Astralis throw the wall of smoke early at the start of a match. They like to feel out and test whether you're going to do that to them. But they're going ramp here.
Yeah, they've actually gone the complete opposite way. While the wall of smokes were outside, they've already
this left window trace.
Barreled out.
They love pushing this left window.
Oh, and he's punished for it too. The 5-7 coming out there alive and well as they're getting the frag on the Glaive. And that's not going to stop Astralis in their tracks. They are going to grab control of this entire bomb site. And quite a bit of damage there done on the side of Renegades. That bomb will be planted, which should help Astralis no matter the outcome of this round. And we're going to try to pincer off device right about now. Zipnik's there to save the day. Finding those 2 frags, and
Zipnik's getting all of the glory through the hole.
Yes, that's pretty accurate, Mr. Gares. I'd say that that's a pretty fair assessment as to what we just witnessed. And they're going to go ahead and concede this round, having pistols, walking away with a Deagle, CZ, and 5-7. Now CZ, not to be confused with CZ, same weapon, but...
So Chad did mention that Renegades played ENCE on Nuke, but something that ENCE doesn't do, that Astralis does, is Astralis will abuse ramp time and time again, and they'll do it from different angles. They'll throw the wall of smoke outside, they'll go ramp. They'll throw the wall of smoke outside, push under heaven, and go ramp from under heaven. They will try to come at JKS from angles that no other team has. And JKS is the ramp player for Renegades, and he's going to have a big match.
Yeah, and for a guy like Justin Savage, we know him to be a turret. We know that he has the capability to sort of get in there and win those duels one-on-one, maybe grab multi-kills, and really do the necessary defense that is the ramp room. But if they're going to keep exploiting it time and time again, it's probably going to cause for the Renegades to do something strange. And in this round, they're going to be doing just that. Pistols on their hands. Astralis trying to barrel out. Yep, this upper site is going to start to fall one by one. Magisk finding 2. Picking them apart, finds a 3rd. Or JKS finds 2 as well. So, not all is lost, but again, a round on the board and the money is starting to stack up yet again for Astralis.
Yeah, and I would look again for Astralis to throw this wall of smoke outside. Sometimes they'll actually throw the middle smoke last, so we might see Glaive just throw that on the fly. There's so many different looks they have on this map. They love pushing towards heaven. But what's important to note is when they push heaven, they're also putting pressure on ramp and squeaky door at the same time. And that puts a tremendous amount of weight on that player's shoulders.
Looks like we do have a little bit of a tech pause here. Nothing major. No pun intended. 3-1, the current score line here is Astralis trying to bounce back from taking a big ol' L there in the first map of Mirage. It would appear as though Magisk is a little thirsty, as you could see there by the hand gesturing. Not necessarily pertinent to anything going on in the game, but thought a interesting tidbit, Sean. You look a little thirsty yourself.
Indeed, Trace. Sometimes you just got to get some water and you got to stay hydrated, especially when you're battling the flu that Zonic is bringing at you.
Yes, that's right. This will become ground zero for the T-Virus before we know it. Shout out to those that made that possible. But any second now, it does appear as though the game will become unpaused. Now, no matter what, when we look at Nuke, we have to sit here and say, yes, again, Astralis, the favorites. These guys very much in control of Nuke overall in the big global picture. Now, having lost that first map, giving a little bit of confidence to the Renegades, showing them that they are beatable, that can really go a long way in a team's mentality.
You know what, Trace? I want to agree, but Nuke is such a different beast when it comes to Astralis. There's so many things they do well. There's so many different looks they can give you.
Yeah.
Astralis has always been quite weak on Mirage, so if Renegades managed to break this streak, I think that would be the most incredible of storylines.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you beat them in a best of 3, but then you beat them on Nuke? My goodness. The boys from down under.
By no means have they started poorly, though.
No, they haven't. They did grab that pistol round, and now as we look at round 5 begin to unfold, utility has been utilized. They were trying to stop him. However, it's going to be one of these Astralis players getting down in the vent, but not for very long. He's going to opt by Gratisfaction. Meanwhile, the hold is still there. It looks like we're going to see sort of a pinch again. Now, you talked about this, Sean. You talked about them wanting to get outside and sort of pincer in these Renegades players and maybe get over there to ramp should the opportunity present itself, but that's a long way off in consideration.
And they're smelling out this position from Liaz. Katowice has cleared so many different angles. At this point, they pretty much know for a fact exactly where Liaz is. And sure enough,
wrecked is the word you're looking for, Sean.
It does not matter.
Does not matter at all. Liaz coming out the victor and leaving Zipex and Dupree alive, all in their lonesome here. And Zipex with the bomb, trying to battle it out in ramp room, maybe get a little bit of ground.
Squashing them like they're beetles, Trace.
Yes. And walking right into the crosshairs will be Dupree. Another kill on the board here. 5 alive in this round for the Renegades. A big monetary gain going forward. They're also battling a Zipex, though, so there's very much a chance here, but that's not going to be happening this round, at least. Jacob finds the ending frag of the round. It's going to be 3-2 Renegades, putting that second one up. And that's big out there by Liaz. You can see, and you knew that they smelled it. They knew that there was a big chance that he was playing there. You saw the flash. Ultimately, didn't come to fruition, and you just lined up, and you got the taste of the AUG.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of teams lack when they play Nuke, is the awareness of understanding when you don't see things, the process of elimination of what the setup could be. Astralis understands all of those things to a perfection on this map. Here we have a fast inside take, it looks like. Smoke mollies towards Mini. I don't believe they're actually going to go with it, but
yeah,
this is very interesting coming out of Astralis.
Now, what they have done here is caused quite a bit of utility, and now that they've got that smoke out, whether the door is still intact or not, they've got them guessing. And now they're going to be able to flex back towards this ramp room. You talked about them wanting to punish JKS over there. The only punishment so far has been on Jacob, now down to 12 HP, but JKS is about to find himself in a world of hurt. Astralis lining up. That Molotov will back him off, but he did get a kill on the Glaive before he did decide to retreat. And now the 4 members here of Astralis remaining alive will elect to go down to this lower bomb site.
For them to push this left window, they'll do that time and time again on Nuke. They think it's so important to control the rotate into the lower site.
Yeah.
And here they are, Magisk and Device taking that side. The plant for them coming out of Zipex. Smoke in Decon, and this is going to be a hard round to retake for Renegades.
Very hard round, and they're going to let Gratisfaction sort of skate his way out here, and they're going to have to use some utility to get some more ground. It's going to be a hell of a fight here towards this control room. Gratisfaction leading the way, JKS behind him. And they haven't quite peeked into the window area yet. It's going to be Majestic gets the opening peek. The bomb now smoked off, but it does not matter at all. They have found all of the kills necessary and really just made a futile effort there out of the Renegades looking to retake that lower bomb site.
Yeah, and you can really see how difficult it is to enter that bomb site when they're set up in the control window and ramp room and top silo. You're just in the worst type of crossfire when you enter that bomb site. So if Renegades wants to stop these ramp hits, it's very, very important that they somehow find a way to contest that control room window.
Yeah, you can see them wanting to punish it time and time again, provided they do get access to that lower site. 4-2 the score now. Astralis, having found that last round, will put Renegades in a weird financial situation. They're going to have to save up as best as possible here, but we do see the P250 and the CZ coming out on Jacob and Azur. Azur having a hell of a tournament thus far, and the numbers will back that up, I do believe. Also having to evolve as the in-game leader and really rallying the troops now under this Australian-New Zealand banner.
Yeah, and if I'm being quite honest, his fragging, now that he's an in-game leader, has taken, honestly, a huge swing upwards. He's not taking a hit at all.
You said upward, Sean. We're going to give you just that. Azur with that swing, but he's not going to be hitting too many home runs in this equation. It's going to be Glaive, Zipex, and Device with the kills. And they're going to find that upper bomb site and the bomb plant. And this where things, we say we can talk about money, but ultimately once this Astralis ball gets rolling, it's a tough one, especially on Nuke. A Nuke that they are all too familiar with and sometimes seemingly invincible on.
I think all the times they seem invincible on it, Trace.
Yeah,
but
the numbers probably would back that up, right?
They do play quite a few close matches, I will say that, and oftentimes I've seen them with their backs against the wall, and all of the magic goes their way on this map. All of the clutches, all of the kills through smokes. They understand so many little fundamental details to the map way better than any other team. It's shocking to see.
Numbers check out, Mr. Gares, and so do these numbers. 5-2. A little bit of a skirmish there at the end of the round, but ultimately no one falls. It's going to be 5-2 in the way of Astralis currently. And as our first timeout reigns in, and it looks like the Renegades want to figure out a much more capable and better defense going ahead of this bye round.
So this is when you're Renegades and you're thinking, okay, they're abusing ramp a lot. What should we do at this point? Should we play heavier ramp? Should we be giving it up and dropping into the lower bomb site? Do we do an aggro outside setup to, take out that area of the map, and then we focus on ramp later on and the retake lower? There's a lot of options for Renegades right now. They could seemingly do many adjustments right now to what Astralis is showing them.
As the timeout does tick away, it's time to get us into this 8th round. Again, a best of 3. First map going the way of the Renegades, helping their cause, helping the Oceanic cause. Greyhound probably looking on now.
It's a big full ramp rush.
Yep.
They just keep abusing this ramp room. Is JKS going to be ready for this?
Well, the thing is he's not even there to fight it in the first place right now. Yes, they're going to go to this back hall again. They're going to jump through that window, and they're going to run right into him, barrel him down, steamroll him into the dirt. And that is the sort of play. You've got Device running through Molotovs now. The ground controlled by Astralis, and at the rate that they do it in this lower bomb site, there has to be an answer for the Renegades.
Yeah, Trace, and you could see the adjustment came out of Renegades. They did the second thing that I mentioned. They tried to play heavy towards outside. They played heavy towards yard. But when you're the best team in the world and the other team has to respect you, you can just full rush ramp. And it looks brilliant when you do it.
No grenades, going in dry.
And that's the luxury of having teams fear you and knowing that when they call a timeout, they're going to change their game plan. Astralis abusing the fact that they are so strong on this map with such a call.
Yeah, big call here. As another one goes on the board for Astralis. 6-2. Majisk leading the way with 8 frags. ADR spread pretty evenly across the board on both sides. But this one very much in their court still. Renegades having saved those weapons in that AWP. Gonna put a FAMAS in the hands of JKS. And, well, they do have quite a bit of utility to back it up. Now, the only kit on Liaz, should it even get down to a late round situation, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But they're gonna try to fight this right away, and they're gonna put a ton of damage down on Astralis in the meantime, taking down Magisk. They're holding. They've kind of got something going for them here, which is a much different storyline than the previous rounds. And, well, Jacob's gonna keep those numbers rolling as well. Finding a frag, 3 alive for Astralis. Big grenade here from JKS. He's needing to hold this ramp room. Finds big damage onto Glaive, and he knows that they're right there. Can smell him, and unfortunately, the FAMAS does absolutely nothing there, as they do have an open ticket and open door down the lower bomb site. Gratisfaction, though, there to respond. It's now all up to Dupree, who's just right next to Gratisfaction. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all she wrote. A defensive round by the Renegades, and a big one at that.
Yeah, that was a very important round for Renegades to win with 4 alive. They need to focus on building this economy. They need to get all of the utility to stop these Astralis hits. And you can tell Astralis is testing it. They're testing how much utility they're going to use on that upper bomb site. If Renegades wasn't pre-molotoving both hut and door, I promise you Astralis rushes the upper bomb site right there. They're such a reactive team, but yet somehow manage to always be on the same page.
And that page needs to keep turning. Renegades going to have to continue to find answers here for the problem that is Astralis on Nuke.
No, it's Gratisfaction. He's ready for it.
Yes, very good positioning for your Gratisfaction. Does have that AWP set up there towards Secret. And if he can hold on there, if he can just keep that fight and win it even, that'll go a long way in the defense of these bomb sites. But this is a sort of adjustment that perhaps the Renegades need.
Yeah, and this is something that Astralis does so well. So if Device spots this AWP in Secret, what's going to happen is Dupree's going to quickly push towards Heaven because he knows an AWP won't be in Heaven. So you can see right now, they're going to feel out exactly where the AWP is, and when they do, they're going to react appropriately.
See Glaive using that Molotov there. Doesn't want anyone to skate out of that smoke onto them, catch them off guard out in the open there and outside. They're just going to be kind of hanging around there. I mean, perhaps they're banking on the fact that Device can find a kill, but no, it's going to be Dupree who takes down that connector player onto Liaz.
And since they haven't found Gratisfaction towards Heaven, Device knows for a fact he's in Secret right now.
Gotta know something, and JKS coming out on top there over Zipex. It's gonna go a long way, and we do have just a little bit of a stutter step. Not a dance maneuver, but JKS with 4. It's gonna be Device with an AK, and that really did kind of go wrong in so many different fashions. As Gratisfaction ends the round out, real awkward happening there.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of skips coming in when you're watching the Astralis players right there.
You know, hop, skip, and a jump. No one's playing hopscotch.
No, they are not. Looks like we have a tech timeout taken.
Real weird time for that to happen, too. And yes, you can see the fact that...
Just not happy, immediately going to the keyboard.
Just typing it out. They're going to try to resolve this and figure out what was that sort of tripped up moment. That was a very inopportune time, but I think in the meantime, we're going to hang tight with you. Now, that was in the middle of a round, so...
Looks like freeze time is counting down right now. All the headsets are on, so I believe we're going to stay live here.
Yeah. Look, it looks like they're going to go for it here. Crouch and spawn, that means everyone is happy. I think that's the indicator.
There's a last-second buy coming out of Astralis. They don't have all of the utility in the world, but enough for sure.
That was a big round nonetheless, one that will definitely come back into question later on. I'm sure of it, as Glaive is the first victim to fall here. Weaponry out on the side of Astralis, now with 3 AKs and a Galil to their hands. The utility, though, they only have 2 smokes, so any sort of set pieces are going to have to maybe revolve around that. I think at this point, though, they're just trying to get a pick and maybe even these numbers back up. Gratisfaction, though, with this AWP, he has found this player on the top of the connector. Can't seem to land the shot onto Dupree. With his two teammates set up outside. They want this fight to go down outside. They want to take these challenges outside. You can tell Astralis know that they're comfortable in this map. They know that they're comfortable taking the fight anywhere. So why not have it outside?
Yeah, it almost feels like at this point, Gratisfaction is playing with fire, taking these peeks into Dupree time and time again. Looks like they're going to back off now and take the 5v4.
Maybe it worked. I mean, maybe Gratisfaction, the 4D chess simulation does continue. As they have backed off outside, now repositioning themselves, trying to figure out what it is that they're doing. Device finds himself eliminated from the round. As Azur continues to stack bodies up there, Dupree able to take down Azur with the trade, but Liaz is there with the response immediately, leaving Zipex in a 1v4 with 30 seconds left on the clock. Again, with the bomb in hand, this is a very tall order. I don't think the waitress is going to be helping him out too much today. However, goes for the second frag and indeed does grab it. 2 huge kills. He might be able to get this bomb down. Gratisfaction needs to find the easy frag there. Can't seem to do it, but he does put a considerable amount of damage. And what is now a 1v2. While they do get the bomb planted, that got scarily close for the Renegades.
That did. If that bomb went down at that point, I don't know. I've seen Zipex win so many of those 1-on-2s from that point on. Gratisfaction, though, saving Renegades on a very important round. And it looks like they've finally stabilized. Astralis going to go with the pistols. And assuming Renegades takes this round, they're in quite a good spot for this half.
They are indeed, Mr. Gares, giving Astralis a run for their money on the map that they have built up quite the legend on. Again, we're going to see this fight going down outside. 5 CZs on the side of Astralis, and they're just going to barrel through this wall of smokes. They know how vital it is for them to get down to secret with a quickness. Liaz opening up the round for the Renegades with a frag. Certainly does help things, and Glaive responding. So Liaz no longer with us here.
JKS in a very strong position.
Yes, and he does find success onto Dupree, but now what is he going to do? Now where is he going to position himself? He does know he's kind of pinched off here in this lower site. He's just going to have to turtle in. Try to fight it out up against these weapons. They've already given up 2 weapons. Now, with the AUGs in the hands of Astralis, they've come just a little bit more lethal in this round.
Yeah, so if you're Astralis right now, you know for a fact you've forced 2 players into this site. You know that JKS is down there, and you have to assume someone's guarding him.
Yeah, and Device here from the window room could prove to be just in the right position, but absolutely nothing to come of it just yet. However, that's taking down Gratisfaction, so there's definitely a chance here. Definitely not going to write him off. No head armor, though. It's going to be JKS and Jacob against Device in a 1v2. The bomb down. Plenty of time on the clock, but he's got to find a kill here. And he's got to start to figure out where this second player is. And, well, I guess that player's going to find him first.
That round perfectly. Moving around that lower bomb site, he found about 4 different positions there. All of them were just the exact perfect spot to stop the spread of that hit onto the lower site.
And your eyes do not deceive you. Astralis against the ropes here with another timeout used. They're going to have to use it wisely. The boys have strung together a series of rounds here. The 6-6 being the scoreline, Astralis being tested, but you certainly cannot count them out of the fight.
No, you can't. They've had so much success towards ramp as well as pushing heaven. You would have to assume Astralis is going to go to one of those 2 things here. They're likely going to mask it if they go towards ramp, though. They're probably going to throw like a wall of smoke this round.
Right.
And they could use that in several different ways.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them use it before. They wall of smoke, they sort of transition, go straight for the hard hit into ramp room, and there really is no answer at that point for the Renegades. JKS is, nowhere to be found in those moments for timing purposes. Wherever he is, he's just not there to fight it off. Zipex trying to get up close and personal. However, Gratisfaction with the smoke and the AWP on the other side. This could be a very grimy one-way.
Here's that wall of smoke, and it does look like they're backing out. Gratisfaction's opping ramp, so if Astralis goes towards ramp, this is a different look.
Yeah, they're not going to expect that AWP player there.
We have an upper hit coming, I believe.
Yeah, it smells a little bit like upper, doesn't it, Sean? Liaz there in the connector. He's going to have to...
He's going to get smoked off here by Zipex. It's going to be all on Jacob to hold this site.
He's going to have to turn and do something. Got to help your battle buddy out here. Jacob going to be that big point of contact should they pop open that door. Again, 5 weapons over there for Astralis, and plenty of utilities still to work with as we...
Glaive just pushed Gratisfaction off the line. That's going to demand a rotate, actually.
Yeah, that rotation is going to have to come in now because the hit is on, and upper sight is not going to be Astralis's. The initial hit is not going their way. 4 members fall with a quickness device, trying to find somewhere to get into the action from outside, coming through the connector. And with 30 seconds left on the clock-ish, it's not spelling too much of success in the way of Astralis in this round. 1v5. He does find 1 kill in the JKS, and the timing there to pull out the Molotov did not work out in his favor. And yes, that is right. The boys, 7-6, currently over Astralis on Nuke at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Major.
They've done it. They've brought it back after finally they went up 1-0 on that pistol round. They lost the lead, and here they've gotten it back 13 rounds in. They find themselves up 7-6. Astralis on a pistol, 4 spy as well.
Wow. I think that has to be going through everyone's mind right now. 6 rounds on the T side. Could go a long way as we look into the second half of play, but right now, Astralis are just going to get cooked up there in that ramp room. Device and Dupree having taken a ton of damage, and the CZs are going to have to do something here. Luckily, support there is for the Opper, and it's going to be in the form of JKS. Now Glaive going to try to walk out of this hut and maybe find a frag, maybe not. But a bomb plant would go a little ways for Astralis. Now, they do have a little bit of money built up, but that is not how the cookie was supposed to crumble according to all of your pick'ems.
Not at all, Trace. Everyone at home is shaking right now at the thought of Astralis not going 3-0 for their pick'ems. Myself included, to be honest.
Yes, Sean Gare's looking extra sweaty now, sort of that of Glaive. Now 50 seconds left on the clock. He's got to try to find somewhere to go, something to do, perhaps even just grab a gun and peel off at this moment. The only gun down be that well in the territory of the Renegades, and he's going to peek this ladder room. Now they're going to have that information, and now JKS is going to close out the round. 8-6, the Renegades looking to close out the half, the better, and leading the charge is JKS. 17 frags, 113 ADR, and quite the series of rounds strung together here by the Renegades. 6 to be exact, but weaponry now on the side of Astralis, Sean.
Yeah, he struggled early at ramp in this match, but he's rotated around the map so well. He's really come into form in these later rounds. Here again, we have that early wall of smoke coming out of Astralis. And I believe they're going to go with a fast mini drop.
Yeah, they're doing something strange for a little piece of change here. And that wall of smokes does complete itself there on the back of Glaive's underhanded toss. The numbers, Gratisfaction's not going to know, but he's going to get the shot on the Glaive. Big kill, big scalp to take there. And that is going to make it very, very difficult for Astralis to hold it together. And you can see that player pushing out a connector. He smells the fact that they want to get up into the rafters, and they're not going to be able to do it. Magisk finding 2 big kills, however. Still leaving a fighting chance here in the round for Astralis.
And you can see they know they frag JKS, who's the ramp player. They immediately take this lower bomb site, get advanced positioning. Magisk's going to get this bomb down. There's no one to stop him.
That's right, Sean. And the HP low on both sides here. Got Device and Magisk versus Gratisfaction and Jacob for the last round of this half. Gratisfaction finding his way through the vents now with the AWP in hand.
He did hear Magisk, though. He knows one's on the right side there.
Yeah, they're making a ton of noise back here in these back halls. Looks like they're going to try to take the fight from the same way. And Device could find himself in a very advantageous position. In fact, he does. Eliminating Gratisfaction from the round. Jacob has got a response, but the time has dwindled. Now he's spotted this player on ramp. He's going to stick this defuse. There's no way that this is about to happen the way it is. You love to see it, Renegades fans. He stuck the defuse, and the Renegades winning the first half 9-6 over Astralis. On to Nuke is the most outrageous happening thus far, and the Renegades don't look to stop anytime soon. Make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here with more of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Major.
I'll take it. Yeah, reminding myself to just let go. Don't wonder how far I can fall. Don't look down, never fade out. And I just wanna be someone and never fall behind again. Just keep on moving on. Never look down, never fade out. Never fade out. Don't look down, never fade out. And I just wanna be someone and never fall behind again. Just keep on moving on. Never look down, never fade out.
Well, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the disappointment there on Device, and that, my friends, is a telling sign. Nuke going well in the way of the Renegades right now, 9-6, and a pistol round could definitely turn the tide of this in one way or the other. Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Major of 2019. My name is Trey Stunna-Saranthus, and alongside of me will be Mr. Sean Gares, and we are having a hell of a time understanding what it is that is going on here.
Much better time than it looked like Device was having right there. But this is the CT side. Astralis is known for this half. They're very dominant here.
The real question will be, is 9 rounds enough for the Renegades here? They already tried to contest ramp early on in the headshots. Device cannot lay his head too low on that note.
He's gonna have a much better time after that pistol.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Gares. Big pistol round here from Device, and all those frowns have now turned upside down. Still not enough for them to feel comfortable, though. They are the lesser still. As the pistol round does go their way, 9-7, still in favor of Renegades. That is not what you had in mind on your ramp rush.
No, not at all. And this is one of the first times all major where Renegades will not win one of the first 2 rounds of a half if they lose this Glock Eco.
Which has already been almost a fable story for the Renegades. Monumentous steps here. Every round will count. They want to end this in 2, having won the first map of this best of 3. But now the weapons over on the side of Astralis are going to prove to be a big problem. 5 Glocks, though, for Renegades. So not putting a lot of stock into this round. But nonetheless, they do have a job to do. They're going to try to get this bomb planted. That would be a little bit of success.
I reckon that's not a fight the AUG ever loses.
I don't think so either, especially when your swing is up. So, ladies and gentlemen, 9-8. And I think Astralis have had enough. But now that the money's looking just right and being fiscally responsible in that last round, Sean, that's going to net Renegades some weapons, isn't it?
It is, and we saw Renegades do a lot of cool things against Ents. We saw them throw wall of smokes into upper hits. We saw them throw wall of smokes, and they actually did the 4 walk behind the smoke. Now that's a little bit trickier when Glaive's playing by the mini, walking behind a set of smokes. So I'll be interested to see if they try that against Glaive.
Yeah, and And these weapons now are going to have to do something. They don't want to see this lead slip away.
Here they are. They're going to do it. They're going to try to get across this in front of Glaive.
But that Molotov is going to stop them dead in their tracks. Meanwhile, the smoke wall keeping them concealed. And the spam there from Glaive, unfortunately not doing too much damage, just a little bit on the Jacob.
I will say though, Trace, oh my goodness, he made it down.
They have committed to the project, and JKS in the vents. Big nade though there. Ton of damage onto the Renegades, and Zipex is kind of smelling what's going on. Finds himself in the lower site. Set up for a pretty good hold here.
This is an angle and a half, Trace.
It is.
I cannot imagine these T's clearing this.
Their tracks. Meanwhile, the smoke wall keeping them
But
concealed.
here they come into the site. Zipex getting one.
Unfortunately, Zipex getting that one. Device finding one as well. They have found the bomb plant. And this is big. This is already huge for the Renegades, but they need to salvage this round in any way possible. Device drops that op. Now the players from the Renegades are going to be set up here in this back hall. Going to make this defense a little bit more tough. He's going to find himself trying to fight in from the ramp room. And now that they know where both players are, this turns into a crucial time for JKS to show up, and he can't do it. Dupree with the AUG is going to reign supreme. And that will be, in fact, another round on the board for Astralis. Now, that could have got out of hand a little quick.
It could have, yes, but when you watch a team like Astralis and you saw how Glaive was peeking those secret holes, working with Device, slowly progressing, and when he finally takes that engagement, Device is close enough to instantly trade. Then Dupree has that one smoke. He smokes off the decon door, taps the bomb, and is ready to just spam the last remaining T through the smoke. Again, they just do all the little things correctly. And here, Renegades find themselves down 0-3. They can piece together a little bit of a buy, some Deagle armors, a scout on Leah's.
Yeah, they're gonna swing for the stars here, Mr. Gers. And right now, that has not gone their way just yet. JKS the first victim in the round, and Device is gonna let that op ring from outside.
And Dupree's actually already pushed in lobby right now.
Yeah, so they have a big heads up as to what's going on, and on the information that he's gained from being in the lobby, that might just be enough to really put Astralis in the defensive positions they want to be in. Mind you, the weaponry's not super great here for the Renegades.
Play in front of this smoke. This is a very risky play coming out of Glaive. Using the cloud, though, to his advantage.
That's very true. And just like that, the round will fall. 10-9, Astralis have now regained control of the scoreline. But the money's back in order here for the Renegades. There should be an AWP coming out there on the side of Gratisfaction, and indeed it will. They're going to have the utility to support it. Device also with the AWP.
Oof. You really hate to see that when you do an outside default and there's a CT on top. Twinkie just looking down on you.
I have a
Danish god.
I have a friend who would probably say something along the lines of, oh dear. That's not what we're saying right now as the hit starts to come in on this upper bomb site. They want to do it with a furious pace. JKS has actually found himself down in the vents. He's going to find a really pivotal frag there onto Device. And if he could have found the second one onto Zipex, that would have been
in spawn, Trace. They're not reacting to his position. They're not reacting to what's going on. And now they're going to throw this wall of smoke. And I'd imagine Glaive is going to be ready for this.
Glaive is going to be there, and they are not going to be prepared for this. The swing is there, but the trade is as well. Gratisfaction with the op comes alive in the round. And now it seems like a little panic by everybody's a little off-kilter. It seems as though everybody is just trying to resituate themselves in the meantime, and just with the frag certainly does help that of Astralis. 3v2, Liez and Azur here. The only two players alive for the Renegades, and well, Azur's going to try to work his way over there towards that ladder room and maybe catch someone off guard, but there is a chance that he gets sniffed out. Meanwhile, it looks like they're going to try to hit this A site. The timing is probably not going to work out for Liez, and in fact, it doesn't, and it has all fallen apart. What was initially a good idea, I think, maybe, that's just not there for him, Sean.
I love the initial approach for JKS to just bomb down those vents, immediately looking for a fight onto Device. He wins that fight. But once you stall out in the yard like that against Astralis, it's just like they're surrounding you and they're slowly closing in on you, and they're going to keep picking you apart little by little. Every player from Astralis is just all over this hit. No one's just on an island on the other side of the map. They read what was happening perfectly and adapted accordingly.
almost feel the nervousness now through the camera there. And rightfully so. Renegades have pushed Astralis all the way to where they want them to be. But now this seesaw is starting to get a little bit heavier on one side. 9-11, Astralis now in the lead. It was a marvelous first half from the Renegades. Gonna have to start picking up the pieces here. I don't think we're gonna see too much of purchasing coming out on the side of the Renegades.
No, they can afford some pistol armors, a couple smokes. It looks like they have enough smokes to probably throw a wall smoke outside. Maybe that's what they're going for here. But Glaive playing so aggressively.
Yeah, they don't want to show them the respect. It probably gave them that little bit of a cushion. They were put to a test, and a little bit of spam. Glaive taking quite a bit of damage there through the hut. Not enough to take him out of the round, though. Looks like the Renegades want to hang out outside, perhaps find a pick, maybe make a decision from there. But Glaive coming from the secret area is going to prove to be a problem. No one's going to suspect this. He finds the first kill in the Azure. Grenades will now rain in as they start to close in on that of the Renegades. There's not a whole lot that they can put together here with these 3 Deagles.
This is exactly what I was referring to, Trace. You cannot sit in the yard like this against the Astralis. Yeah. They will slowly start to peek you in angles that you're not expecting. Their teamwork is too strong, and their grasp of the map is just phenomenal.
It is that, Mr. Gares. Jacob and JKS with the 2 Deagles and 40 seconds left on the clock. Maybe, just maybe, he heard him scope in the big garage, but doesn't appear as though he wants to try to take that weapon. In fact, it's going to get even weirder as he goes up the ladder now. Magisk is not going to be expecting this. And now we've set ourselves up for a real banger. He's looking for the second kill on the player on the hut. Can't seem to do it. Really wasn't a whole lot invested into this round by the Renegades, so it's not as though that they're going to be super punished for it, but another round slipping away on the board doesn't help, and JKS realizes there was a chance he was going to get killed after the time. He wanted to make sure that he went ahead and got that ordeal out of the way. It's another round on the board. 12 for Astralis, 9 for the Renegades.
This is a round that Renegades, it's getting in that must-win territory, Trace. Astralis' money is getting out of control. Every single player on their team has over 5K. They have a couple buys in them before, you know, they're even close to running out of money. Yeah, which is the scariest prospect, right? Having money for the rest of the game. If you're the Renegades, you are going to be pushed that distance every single round. They're going to go ahead and pop that door off, Molotov the connector, and get a player in the lower. Now, we've seen JKS do this earlier. It did work out, and in fact, it works out again. Device has absolutely no clue that the steamroll of the Savage is coming through to town. And again, Renegades having set back themselves just a little bit here. Looks like they're going to use a little bit of utility. Now, we've seen this strat before, Sean. We have, and they're going to give it a different approach this time. They're not going to throw those wall smokes and go outside. It looks like they're going to go towards ramp, which is the play. JKS is holding that control room area, I believe, right now. He has the rotate from ramp into the lower bomb site. They're going to get a 1-on-4 in this ramp room, I believe, against Zipex. The problem is that they have to clear Zipex out of this ramp room, and the flash is going to come through, get him really blind, and it's a really awkward moment here as no one has seen him yet. Somehow, some way, he is able to take down Azure. Magisk grabs one as well, and Lias finally eliminating him from the round. At that point, it could not have gone any more wrong for the Renegades, Sean. Oh, what a blunder coming out of the Renegades. They had the perfect strat, the perfect read, the perfect flash, and they just didn't clear the corners. Just the smallest of details cost them this round. You have to feel for them after this. Zipex, snake in the grass.
Yeah, that was a rough one. The flash was perfect. As perfect as one could be, everyone being blind, of course. No one could see Zipex in the corner. Not firing. Just all kind of came to fruition for him, didn't it? JKS,
some success getting down this vent.
And he's going for it again. Now, I would be really surprised to find Device down here, the victim, yet again. That's not going to be the case. However, him down in that lower site does give them a different angle, another avenue of approach should they elect to use it.
Yeah, if I were JKS, I'd be taking buddies down there with me at this point. Hey guys, check this out. I can come down the vent every round. Come with me.
It's as simple as that. JKS is going to be hanging out by his lonesome for the time being, setting up a campfire.
Oh, this gets scary with Glaive's positioning. will Renegades be aware of this, especially with all the spam coming through from Magic? They have so much to worry about. Oh, no.
No, sir. No, sir, indeed. Glaive finding 3 right there, and that is not a good look for the Renegades. Eventually, he does fall. Now, Liaz and JKS. JKS having hung out in the control room the entire time, mashing buttons. Now we'll have to mash some heads here in the lower bomb site. They're set up just proper, though. The crossfire is there from Zipex and Device, so getting out will, in fact, be the biggest problem that they're going to face. And, well, for what it's worth, Sean, it ain't gonna happen.
All we're seeing is a bunch of mashed Australian potatoes.
Yes.
Trace.
Don't even know if that's a good thing, but nonetheless, I do like mashed potatoes. 14-9 the score now.
And the small things, again, working so well for Astralis. Glaive playing this position, everyone plays this position, right? But he has someone from heaven just shooting all of those shots, making the T's worried that it's not in their heads that there could be a second CT there, and that's what nets Glaive 3 kills right there.
It is remarkable that JKS has been able to get down there with succession so many times. We've seen him punish Device, I think, 2-3 times minimum.
Don't think he's gonna make it down there.
Yep. I think they're onto you, bud. Molotov coming out there onto the vent will prevent JKS from finding that ease of access into the lower site. Looking like a set piece here from the Renegades. Zipex there to hold the ramp, and Device outside. Device finding that damage already to just go ahead and start nailing away at the Renegades. 14-9 in a round where they haven't purchased up a whole lot, electing to save for the tie. They're gonna again get caught outside and get picked apart one by one. Glaive finding 2, Device finding 2. Glaive doing just enough for JKS to hang out with the Tech 9, and that will be 15 on the round for Astralis.
Yeah, it looks like Renegades almost took for granted that JKS could get down the vents that round, and you could see their strat looked like it almost revolved around that when he wasn't able to make it down there.
Molotov,
Just,
my God.
This is just a feels bad, man.
What are you gonna do in that situation, right?
Pepe hands.
Yeah, get the marshmallows out. 15-9, and we're gonna see what appears to be a timeout come in. The boys still in the fight, having won the first map. This one will be going the full distance. In fact, map 2 being Nuke. That would be the current problem child here for the Renegades. We're gonna have to buy all into this round. And in doing so, hope for the best. Expect the worst, hope for the best, and see what happens in the middle, Sean.
You know, that's a motto we can all live by, Trace. Maybe
yeah,
not.
maybe. Yeah. Maybe more so some than others. Yeah, it looks like, to me, it's Astralis has figured out what it is going on here. As soon as they put a stop to JKS getting down to lower, that really did put sort of a halt into taking Device out of the round early on. And that shot with Dupree there is going to, in fact, begin.
And yes, you're right. It looks like they've solved the riddle of JKS getting down that vent. It's not making it down there anymore.
Third map being Inferno, everyone. So if you're just tuning in, you've picked the opportune time to see a clash. A team that has, in fact, become Titans. And I don't mean that in French sense. Liaz finding success here. It was the only kill from the side of Renegades in this round. And just being the lesser. Now, fighting for a lifeline in this upper site will be Azur. You have to do something miraculous, and that is just not on the cards. Astralis bouncing back 16-9 here onto Nuke, and you've got to look at an unanswered half here from the T side of the Renegades. Astralis, all of the rounds on the CT side going their way and doing it with relative ease. Once they figured out all the problems, well, no one really has the answer for what the problem of Astralis is on Nuke just yet. In fact, as we do put Nuke into the books, is there anything you've got for us, Sean? Any sort of diagnosis, Doctor?
I mean, Astralis is just so strong on that CT side of Nuke. Renegades did not look ready for their gameplay there. I thought they had a very good opening half. They showed a lot.
Yeah.
Inferno is going to be an excellent map to watch.
Yeah, I think Inferno is really going to set the stage, right? Because now you can wipe away what was Mirage, you can wipe away what was Nuke that basically people are sleeping on the Renegades at that point anyway.
Yes.
But regardless, we do have a true best of one in that sense.
Yeah, and Inferno's the best map to do it, right?
I think so. Couldn't have said any better myself. The fire will continue here at the Intel Extreme Masters Major, and you don't want to be anywhere else but here. We're going to Inferno next, but not before the analyst test. Make sure you're here with us when we come back.